Let's return to Central Otago. We were there with Chris Farfoy earlier in the program, and perhaps the crop it's most famous for, no, not Pinot Noir, stone fruit, although it might well be a close run thing on the fame front now. Anyway, the storm that hit Roxburgh also hit the area's orchards, and the fruit most vulnerable to early summer storms is cherries, but the news is mostly good. Although, as Glenn Madison of Golden View Orchard told me, some early ripening varieties were hit.
Yeah, the variety I'm holding at the moment is called Burlat, which is really for us is growing traditionally comes in around about the last week in November, but due to the weather being so good this year, it came in a week earlier.
Oh, bummer.
So, yeah, this is the variety. It's not really well grown throughout New Zealand as far as commercial lines because it's not exported. So it's more grown for the domestic market and for stalls and markets like that.
Glenn says he lost maybe a third of his early crop, although the cruel fact is it still tastes good and they're delicious, sweet fruit. It's just that consumers won't touch cherries with split skins.
I mean, at the end of the day, a consumer buys with their eyes. So when they see a mark, which is a line or like that, what it looks on it, or goes slightly a little bit brown, that people look at it as though that fruit's going to go off, which it is going to go off quicker, but there's nothing wrong with it.
And so what's this mean? What's this costing you and what are you doing? Are you still able to pick fruit? Are you still able to harvest anything?
Yeah, we got a couple of pickers left. I had to lay a few off as it's very hard going, of course. So we've really kept up. I've got a couple of, one a Wolfer in particular and a local, which we've kept them on. But their picking's gone from, you know, being quite good to now all of a sudden they're doing about a third to even a quarter of what they normally would pick in an hour.
That's Glenn Madison, whose later fruit will be fine and we suspect delicious too. Most cherries are still ripening, meaning they were too small for the rain to split their skin. Gary Bennett is a fifth-generation grower. He owns the Teviot Orchard Company, established by his grandfather 101 years ago. Now, much of his fruit is late ripening, and we spoke to him via Live View too, and I could see small red blobs of deliciousness on the trees behind him.
They're my cherries, John.
Which is good news, right? So they've survived the storm.
Yeah, they have. Fortunately, these cherries, the maturity wasn't up too far for these cherries to suffer too much damage. Just a little bit of damage in them, but nothing that significant.
There was some damage on early ripening varieties, so early stock may be expensive or have damaged flesh, but overall it does seem to be business as usual on the cherry front. Had the storm, by the way, been a couple of weeks later or brought hail, it would have been much, much worse. And funnily enough, and I didn't know this, the rain took some humidity out of the air, and muggy weather isn't great for cherries either.
The rain we had was over a short period of time. Any rain we have on our cherries, we can have a short amount of rain. If it's cold rain that comes in with, we get a bit of change of weather coming over from the south, it can handle a little bit of rain, it freshens everything up. It's the humid days where it's drizzling and the cherries stay damp all day, they just don't like it, they just start to split to bits. So a little bit of cold front coming through, a short bit of rain is fine, but anything that goes too long is going to do damage to your cherries.
It's Gary Bennett's fifth-generation grower who owns the Teviot Orchard Company, so there should be summer cherries available.